It is Wednesday, January 9. President David Granger met with the opposition leader. This and other stories are making the news today. President David Granger today met with leader of the opposition, Bharat Jagdeo, to discuss the way forward following the December 21, 2018 vote. The president, in an address following the meeting, said both sides have agreed that regional and general elections will be held within the capability of the Ghana Elections Commission. Hear more in this report.
The government of Guyana and the opposition in the National Assembly met today, Wednesday, the 9th of January, to examine two main issues. The first is, of course, the functioning of the National Assembly, and the second is the functioning of the government. Neither of these two important institutions, the legislative branch and the executive branch, could be allowed to fail. Public services have to be delivered, public order has to be maintained, and therefore the two sides reached broad agreement on how these two institutions, the legislative branch and the executive branch, would continue to function.
President David Granger, the head of state, said he has assured the opposition that there is no intention by his government to derail the Constitution of Guyana.
We have agreed that the two sides will continue to work together to engage GECOM to ensure that elections are held within the administrative capabilities of the Guyana Elections Commission. I would say, in conclusion, that we've had a successful engagement. Both the leader of the opposition and the president are concerned about the situation. We would like to assure the public in Guyana that we are working to a solution which they will be satisfied with.
President Granger is assuring the public that both sides are working towards a solution and that public interest remains paramount for the coalition government. The two sides met to discuss the way forward following the December 21, 2018 vote in the National Assembly. Two court actions have thus far been filed in the High Court challenging this vote. President Granger said this is also a legitimate move by the government. Present at the meeting from the government side were Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu, Minister of State Joseph Harmon, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Basil Williams, Minister of Public Security Kemraj Ramjatan, and Minister of Social Protection Amna Ali, Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman, and Minister of Foreign Affairs Carl Greenwich. While from the opposition side, members of Parliament Juan Edgell, Gail Teixeira, Anil Nandlal, Odinga Lumumba, Dr. Frank Anthony, Pauline Sukai, and Irfan Ali accompanied the opposition leader. For InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
A joint communique will be sent out this evening. It will be shared on our website and social media page. With Guyana on the cusp of economic transformation, the Ministry of Business, along with the Ghana National Bureau of Standards, launched a national quality policy. Details from Anarakan.
The policy is one part of a three-component $9 million Inter-American Development Bank funded project. In business today, particularly on the international market, businesses are required to meet standardized quality requirements. Business Minister Dominic Gaskin said the implementation of a national quality policy represents a positive step towards unleashing Guyana's economic potential.
It will guide our approach to quality and provide the framework for us to change the way we do things in order to achieve better outcomes. And I am confident that this project in its entirety, once concluded, will see more Guyanese products and services traded internationally.
Program consultant Dr. Alison Gajadar said the aim of the policy is to provide a framework for the development of a national quality infrastructure.
It is about ensuring that Guyana, that we have one consistent approach, meeting one standard that is congruent to international best practices, so that external parties can understand when we say we're selling a product or we're trading anything according to a particular standard. And so this speaks to the purpose of the project. I've spoken to it. You want to develop a robust infrastructure, and by robust we mean sustainable.
At the launch, participants were given a demonstration of the National Quality Infrastructure Portal, a website being launched as part of the program. Stakeholders were urged to actively participate in crafting the policy as it seeks to involve every organization. For InfoHub, Anara Khan.
The Guyana Gold Board, GGB, is reporting a successful 2018 despite several major challenges. The GGB, in a press release today, said 2018 was not as solid as anticipated. However, it ended on a good note in view of prevailing conditions. Total declarations from all sources as of December 31, 2018 amounted to 613,073 ounces, which was only 6.2% lower than 2017. All circumstances considered, the Gold Board said its legal mandate to buy gold, to process exports, and to implement and enforce tougher regulatory standards and requirements were fulfilled. This was achieved through a mercury-related health and safety development, ongoing media scrutiny, environmental interest, customer inconvenience, and staff concerns. With regards to 2019, declarations and exportation projections are expected to be 651,000 ounces. More on this story can be read on our website. The Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs is fully prepared to execute over $700 million in works planned for the further development of the hinterland. More from Isaiah Braffett.
This was disclosed by Minister Sidney Alikak while addressing the various heads of department under the purview of the ministry on the way forward. Minister Alikak reminded the heads that the ministry has been fully budgeted to fulfill its mandate.
Our projects are key to village economic development, and we all remain committed to supporting these projects, which are of great importance to communities, including the anticipated coffee in Santa Rosa. We will see the realization of initiatives focusing on the agro-processing, food processing, fruit farms, ecotourism, among many others. So we have our work lined up for us.
Additionally, over $235 million, the minister said, will be invested in 215 indigenous villages under the Presidential Grant Project. Minister within the ministry, Valerie Garrido-Lowe, reminded the department heads that the indigenous people are very dependent on the work they do daily.
This ministry is close to the hearts and minds of the indigenous people. This is their ministry. That is why they turn so readily, as soon as something happens, to let this ministry know, and they expect that we would do something to help solve that problem.
Permanent Secretary to the Ministry, Alfred King, making brief remarks, said in 2018, the ministry completed 92% of its work, which is commendable. However, he is urging more interdepartment and interagency collaboration to better serve the indigenous peoples. Isaiah Braffett for InfoHub.
Senior respiratory therapy students of the Texas State University in the United States are in Guyana for 11 days to introduce and teach the importance of respiratory therapy and care. This second mission to Guyana is facilitated by the Bridges Global Medical Mission and the Ministry of Public Health's International Desk. Details in this report.
The team will be at the Georgetown Public Hospital, the Linden Hospital Complex, and the Mackenzie High School. Assistant Clinical Professor, Texas State University Sharon Armstead, explained that Guyana needs respiratory therapists. At the same time, her students are being exposed to clinical practices in their field of study by way of a study abroad tour to Guyana.
The first thing I realized when I came back here was that my profession, respiratory care, was not part of the allied health system. I've been a respiratory therapist for 40 years, and everywhere in healthcare, I believe that respiratory care should be part of that profession, that care system. There is a program here for asthma and COPD education at Georgetown Public, but I'd like to broaden that scope. I'd like to broaden it to the intensive care units, to the ICUs, to the emergency cares, to bring respiratory into a broader sense, to actually bring the program here. So with Texas State's help, we'd like to actually broaden the scope of the profession.
The students have also expressed their expectations for their stay in Guyana.
And I think the biggest question that everyone wants to ask us is what exactly respiratory therapy do? And we are part of the team. We are there bedside with the nurses and the physicians, assessing our patients, giving our own input on what the patient needs. We are the ones that specialize in the heart and the lungs, and we're all humans, so despite the different cultural boundaries, everyone has heart and lungs.
The most exciting thing about coming here with respiratory care and therapy is it's a really new profession, and to be able to come and spread the awareness in a country that really probably has not a lot of knowledge. Even in the U.S., we don't have a lot of knowledge about the profession, and so it's really incredible that we're here.
Just before the team went about the first day of their work, they paid the Minister of Public Health, Walter Lawrence, a courtesy call where they expressed their sincere thanks for facilitating the team for the second time. The minister hopes that during their stay, the future respiratory therapists successfully teach local medical practitioners while they also learn from the Guyanese team. For InfoHub, Delicia Haynes.
Still to come, Region 1 residents to benefit from a $10 million fish and crab processing facility. And more. Stay with us.
Staying on treatment for HIV can lead to a normal, healthy life. Remain on treatment once you've started. Don't share or use someone else's pills. Staying on your medication not only helps to improve your quality of life, but decreases the risk of HIV transmission to others. A message from USAID, PEPFAR, Advancing Partners and Communities Guyana, NAPS, and the Ministry of Public Health.
Welcome back. The income of residents in Region 1 will be boosted with the establishment of a fish and crab processing facility to be completed by March this year. Details from Ayana George.
In 2018, the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs initiated the need for community development and financial sustainability through the implementation of a fish and crab processing facility for residents of Smith Creek, Morowana, and Imbatero Region 1. On Wednesday, in an interview, Minister within the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, Valerie Garrido-Lowe, said construction has commenced on the facility.
Line to complete this project, this facility will be the first quarter of this year. Also, we intend to train during the first quarter of this year at least six persons to work in that establishment where they will be processing fresh fish.
The well-equipped facility will produce dried, smoked fish and packaging aimed to eradicate the challenges faced by residents to find sales for their excess stock not sold at the local market.
We believe in building your capacity and supporting you so that you in turn can earn and support your families and build your communities.
The fish and crab processing facility is expected to be operational by the first quarter of the year. Reporting for InfoHub, Ayana George.
Systems have been put in place by the Ministry of Public Health to monitor ports of entry following reports of confirmed cases of the H1N1 influenza virus in some parts of the Caribbean. Delicia Haynes has the details.
H1N1 is a flu virus commonly referred to as swine flu. The World Health Organization notes it to be the influenza A H1N1 virus, which emerged in 2009. This flu virus appeared in the United States during that year and swept the globe thereafter. There has been some amounts of mortality as a result of the virus. Since then, countries have been ensuring that their health systems are on guard against the scourge.
At the points of entry, that means the two airports, the border crossings at Mawson Creek and Lethem, we just completed a round of training for all our port officials, not only port health, but port officials, including the customs, immigration, and the other, even the operators of the airline, the ferry, and other transits, conveyance, to highlight them about the need to be vigilant.
Along with training for port officials, there is the assurance that additional medical human resources have been placed at the Cheddi Jagan International Airport to facilitate monitoring. Within the last 2 years, samples were taken at the GPHC to routinely determine if the virus is in Guyana. Since H1N1's initial outbreak in 2009, there has not been any active transmission of the infection in Guyana.
That, of course, doesn't mean that we don't have cases. At least for those samples that were tested, we have not detected any positive H1N1 among the flu cases in Guyana. So we have continue to do that, and Georgetown Hospital and some of the other sites have been collecting and monitoring persons with severe acute respiratory symptoms.
To this end, persons in Guyana are asked to adopt hygienic practices which can prevent the cold or flu. This includes hand washing and sanitizing, which is often taken for granted. Meanwhile, persons with developing respiratory abnormalities are asked to see a licensed medical physician for treatment. Others with flu-like symptoms are also advised to seek out patient medical care as soon as possible. For InfoHub, Delicia Haynes.
Citizens will now be able to vote for their favorite artists to have an opportunity to win prizes in the major Mashramani singing competitions this year. Here's our final report.
Director of Culture Tamika Boswin says the ministry recognized the need for citizens' inclusion to determine other deserving participants in the soca, calypso, and chutney competitions. This option, she said, is also offered for the juniors competition.
We're giving the participants another chance to earn something, because sometimes the judge's decision is final, but sometimes the public has a greater liking to a different person, might not necessarily be the person that won.
According to Boswin, the ministry will also aim to promote newcomers and their songs, as it will not only enable them to gain followers but much needed crowd support during their performances. She explained participants are at times unknown to the public, hence the lack of crowd participation, among other criteria. Polls are open on the ministry's official Facebook page, which runs to the day of the competition and will be closed before the competition ends for the prize-giving ceremony. Neola Dimon, InfoHub.
That's all for this evening. Connect with us on WhatsApp, like and subscribe to our Facebook page for notifications. You can also follow us on Instagram for updates and visit our website at dpi.gov.gy. Your bridge and weather reports are up next. Goodbye.